Stocks in Asia were mixed today as investors' concern over the outlook for the global economy linger. The Nikkei 225 in Japan dropped 0.23% to finish at 21,378.73 as the shares automaker Nissan also lost 3.5%, while the Topix index fell 0.52% to close at just over 1,000. In South Korea, the Kospi slipped 0.15% to close at 2,145 as the shares of industry heavyweight Samsung Electronics recovered from an earlier slip to rise 0.22% after an announcement on Tuesday that its first quarter earnings would likely fall short of expectations. Meanwhile, the ASX 200 in Australia rose fractionally to close at 6,136 points. The mainland Chinese market saw some gains, with the Shanghai Composite adding 0.85% and the Shenzhen Component rising 1.01% to finish its trading day at 9,609.44. The Shenzhen Composite gained 0.899%. And Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index added about 0.6% in its final hour of trading. And over in Wall Street, stock index futures were mostly low as investors continue to focus on the sharp shift in bond markets. And as recession fears persist, the Dow Jones Industrial Average futures indicated a negative open of more than 30 points at 25,582, while the S&P was 0.26% lower. The Nasdaq index was also down 0.14%. And now to an age-old topic that indeed never grows old. A growing number of African champions have put gender parity at the top of their agenda. However, the transition of women from executive committees to boards of directors remains a challenge. This was brought up once again at the Africa CEO Forum in Kigali, Rwanda, where the challenges of gender balance and possible solutions were discussed.
With a topic, Women on Boards, Shattering the Glass Ceiling, Bella Disu, the Executive Vice Chairman Globacom, was on hand to share the story of her journey to the board of Globacom, a family business, at the age of 18.
My father always said to me, look, you're 18 and this is the platform you're on. You just have to assert yourself. Now, the other side of it was, I felt at that time I had to put on a more masculine demeanor. I had to just sort of be a bit manly so people would take me seriously. But the downside of that was I realized over time I was utilizing too many task skills and not balancing with relationship skills.
From a privately owned business to a publicly quoted company, she made her mark.
When I got appointed to the board of Julius Berger in 2017, I thought, okay, now I'm coming out of this cocoon of having been in family businesses. And what I then realized is that as a leader, you must always be humble enough to keep learning, keep that continuum of learning going. So the key thing has been self-development. So I'm now overlooking 4 different sectors of the economy. So telecommunications, construction, property, and now manufacturing.
Other women present at the session also shared their insights and how the governments and corporates can promote gender diversity in the boardroom.
They think that in the board meetings we talk more strategy, vision, so it's not a place for women. So it's up to women to say, yes, we are very good experts, very good at our jobs, we do a very precise job, but we also have a vision and strategy.
The 2 things that I think South Africa has done very well is in having legislation which is very enabling, but also legislation which is very unapologetic. Legislation says we need to see women, we need to see a racial change in the profile of people at board level, at senior management level, in all the companies that are in South Africa.
There is no doubt that when you train a woman, you train a nation. The discussions here buttress that expression that says, what a man can do, a woman can do better. Just give her a chance. From the Convention Center here in Kigali, I'm Chimezie Obi Iwagu, reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, interestingly, in another development, South Africa's Public Investment Corporation has suspended its acting chief executive over alleged interference in an inquiry into mismanagement of a 2 trillion rand fund. The suspension comes several weeks after the PIC's board of directors tendered its resignation following allegations of wrongdoing by 4 of its directors. The corporation's executive head of properties, Vuyani Hako, has been appointed in her place as CEO. There are no details of Moore's alleged interference with the judicial inquiry into the PIC, which was authorized by President Cyril Ramaphosa, following allegations that some directors had used their position for personal gain. The corporation is the largest investor on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. The PIC has significant stakes in South African blue-chip firms as well as bonds of state-owned enterprises like the struggling power firm Eskom and arms company, the LEN. And in a bid to attract further investors to SA's ailing mining industry, the industry body representing mining companies in the country has filed an application for a judicial review to set aside certain clauses of the 2018 Mining Charter. A new version of the Mining Charter, which sets ownership and other industry targets, was unveiled last year. And that was, in fact, a crucial step for the sector, which has been laid low by depressed prices, soaring costs, and rather murky policies. We'll take a moment now on the program. When we come back, we'll cross over to the Nigerian Stock Exchange for an update on today's trading activities. Stay with us.